Good afternoon. My name is Heather. Thank you for taking the time to answer a few questions for me. Can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and your current career?
Sure. Well, my name's Klaus, and I work at BMW of Darien. I've been selling BMWs since 2006. I started selling cars at Acura originally. Then I went on to Saabs. I really enjoy Highline cars. I also enjoy working with people. I just like solving their needs for their excellent automobiles. Part of my job is knowing the product to sell inside and out. That means you have to know everything about the automobile if you can. Personally, I think BMWs are a driving machine. This car is a high performance automobile with excellent handling characteristics, and its acceleration is invigorating. I use my knowledge of cars in order to sell the product. I am able to educate customers, provide them with knowledge about the cars. I've spoken to thousands of people over the years selling cars. Lately, actually, since I've been with BMW, I've become a bit of a BMW genius.
All right. And what made you decide to pursue this type of career?
Well, originally I was in the restaurant business. My father owned a restaurant. I wanted to have a career with better hours. The hours in the restaurant business are so long. Sometimes you don't get out till like 1 o'clock in the morning. You go in at like 10 o'clock in the morning. It was just beating me up over the hours. And one day I just said, you know what? Let me see if I can find something a little bit more exciting, a little bit better hours. Um, I enjoyed cooking, but I'm more passionate with learning about cars at this time. Um, it's basically a comfortable car, and I enjoy the comfort of it as well as the of it. And basically, I just wanted to change careers, so I went with doing this.
And were you inspired by family or friends to follow this career path?
Actually, a friend of mine advised me. Thank you, Jay Scirocco. He said that you might be good at this. Why don't you think about it? And I didn't really think about it then. I didn't really think about it much. But then one day I was driving home, and I said, you know what? Let me just stop in a car dealership and see if they'd maybe be interested in me. And lo and behold, when I walked in the door, they wanted me to work there. They said that it was actually good that I was in the restaurant business because you're very people orientated with the restaurant business because you have to deal with people all the time. Um, and so then I thought back to Jay, and he was making a good salary, so I figured, why not? It is all based on commissions, however. It's not so much the salary per se, but if you sell cars, you're going to make money. And you know what? Thank you, Jay. There we go.
Um, and what are some of the positive things that drew you to this career path?
Well, this job has some positive things due. Basically, the hours. I love the hours. Basically, you can come in and out whenever you really want, as long as you're selling cars, and you can actually sell from home. I do it on my phone all the time. Um, as joining the sales position, it would give me an opportunity to earn more money as long as I sell. I was not stuck with a straight salary. I also enjoy driving BMWs. Heck, almost everybody in my family has a BMW. Um, but I like just working with the customers. It just fulfilling to say the least.
And what are some of the negative things that you heard about this career before starting the job?
Well, we've all heard the horror stories from everybody that talks about it. People hate walking into a car dealership. Um, they think they're going to get ripped off. They think that the basically everybody's lying to them. But if you can try and break through that, then you could be pretty successful at this. Because you could gotta turn them around. Maybe talk about their family. People love to talk about themselves, so that actually could turn it around. It's impossible to sell every person, that's for sure. It's just people are intimidated by it, and trying to get around that can be pretty difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I bet. Are there any benefits in working in sales compared to other business jobs?
Um, well, well, I think if you have the opportunity to work from home or from the dealership, you can make your own schedule. As long as you sell, you know, you don't have to worry about the bosses and the managers. It can be beneficial since your salary is based on commission versus base salary in other business positions. The set salary, I would get only an increase my salary maybe once a year if I'm lucky. Being paid commission can bring you income several times a year. You can actually do a lot better.
Hmm. Um, are there any negative aspects related to working in sales?
Yeah, there are negative aspects in sales. Basically you're working on commission, so let's just say it's raining or it's snowing. Well, you're not going to make money those days. So those are that's a negative aspect. And people still don't spend so much money, if the economy's off, you know, God forbid, that like during, 2008, um, when the market crashed, it was really hard to sell cars at that point because people just didn't have the money. So, if it causes a slowdown in sales, it's not good.
Yeah. How would you describe how you sell your product?
Well, first of all, you have to sell yourself. If you have to know your product inside and out. And once you can, know the product, you can explain it better to the customer. Um, you have to ask them questions, leading questions, like, what are you driving now? What do you like about the car that you're driving now? What don't you like about the car that you're driving now? These are, typical questions you would have to ask. And hopefully, you can get that customer talking. And once you get that customer talking, you got to just sit and listen, absorb it, absorb what they want. Let's just say, if you're talking about a customer that's all about performance, and you talk about the performance aspects of the car. Somebody's looking more for luxury, you got to show them the luxury side of the car. Also, that you could put them in the right direction, like which car would work best for them. Sometimes they come in the door and they're looking for an SUV, and you know what they really wanted was a car. So if you ask all the questions and you follow up with the questions and the leading questions and listen and listen and listen. Again, customers love to talk about themselves, love to talk about their family, so you get them to open up. That's how you can actually sell the car.
How do you stay motivated to sell?
Well, how do I stay motivated to sell? Um, Money. I want money. You know, if you want to make a living out of this, you have to be motivated. You have to follow up with customers. Um, that's what keeps you motivated. Pick up the phone, call them, just to say hi. You know, you just want to be relevant in their, in the surroundings. They want it. You want them to know your name, know who you are, want them to work with you, and that's what motivates me. I like people. I like talking to them. I have a lot of repeat customers over the years. They just keep coming back. They just can't help themselves, which is good, thankfully.
Yeah. Um, would you describe this position highly competitive and why?
It is very competitive. There's a lot of cars on the market out there today. People can get pretty much anything out there. There's a lot of electric cars out there. There's competitive. Thank God BMW is making the electric cars now as well. They tend to be a lot more expensive than a lot of other brands. Um, we're also competitive against Porsche. We're competitive against, Mercedes Benz. Also, there's other BMW dealerships out there you have to compete with. So you're not only competing with different brands, you're also competing with yourself, and you got to make yourself stand out. And that could be competitive. And but stand out, smile, be welcoming. You know, they want to be welcomed in. They want to be talked to properly. Um, and if you don't hit all the key points, you're going to lose. So you got to step up.
Right. Does the economy affect how your sales and how?
Oh, definitely. It's economy can make or break a sale. If they're not making enough money, they can't stay with this brand. Interest rates, that could be a big factor. So if interest rates are high, and they might have to go with a less competitive car. They might have to go with something they don't want, and that could be unfortunate because it's a status symbol to be driving a BMW, and the economy affects that. If they want to look good, they really do. So yes, it can be very. The economy does it.
Would you consider this position highly stressful and why?
You definitely can be stressful at times if you're not selling properly. The managers will come down on you saying, why aren't you showing numbers? We need numbers. Um, yeah, they might say, you know what, if you're not showing me the numbers, maybe you can't stay here much longer, yada, yada, yada. Um, it's competition. Competition also will make it stressful because they're competing against other people. Sometimes stress could be overwhelming, I should say.
Very. Does this position require knowledge about the customers taking out a bank loan?
But yes, of course, most people don't pay cash these days. They want to finance it, they want to lease it. Um, so I have to, deal with, doing credit applications. But bank loans are a big part of it. Most of our financing is done through BMWs. Very rarely do we go with an outside source. So I have everything on my computer, but if you have to, you can go through a different bank. Sometimes I have to go through a different bank because maybe their credit worthiness is not good enough for BMW. But that also means they're going to be paying a higher interest rate. But yeah, I have to do banking with loans and leases.
Mhm. How much of your work involves entry of financial information into a computer system?
Well, usually that happens when we're doing a credit application. So, I use the computers all the time to build cars. So, like, a customer will come in and they want to order a car. By the way, a lot of people order cars. It takes about 2 months from order to delivery, and they really want to get what they want. So I'm on the computer a lot to the BMWUSA.com website, going in building cars. But once I sell a car, then I have to do a credit application and put that into the system.
Um, okay. Does this position require training before this job, or was this on the spot training?
It's on the job training. What I would do, basically, you'd have to be a people person in order to come into this field. But once you get the job, then you have to basically take all these courses to basically understand all the products that BMW offers, all the options, what they do, what their features are. So you have to learn all that stuff first before you can actually really start selling a car. Um, One thing I would say though is a lot of times these customers are very knowledgeable. They might know more than you, so don't fib to them. They say if you don't know the answer to that question, you really should be honest and forthcoming and say, listen, I don't know the answer to that question. So, let's look this up together, Mr. Customer. Let's figure this out. And usually they're okay with that. So that's what I would do. Um, well, that's what I tell other people that are starting this business. to basically just be honest, be upfront, say I'm new. Hey, you know what? I'm new at this. They'll understand that. Just admit it and just move along. You know, they like honesty. So if you're honest, they're gonna be more grateful.
Okay. If you don't know too much about cars, is it easy to learn?
Yes and no. Um, I did not know much about cars. I was in the restaurant business. It took me a couple of years to learn everything I needed to know about cars. But once you get into it, it's kind of cool. Um, I like all the different features that they offer. I think it's pretty nice, pretty good.
Okay. Could you tell me some of the most positive experiences you have had while working in this career?
Most positive experience I've had is, first of all, I like people, and I like to see them happy. It's nothing better than when the car comes in, I pick up the phone, say, Mr. Customer, your car's here, you excited? And they usually are. They can't wait to see it. And when they come in, and they see the car, you can just see the smile on their face. See them smile when they're walking, when they leave out the driveway, um, calling them up, saying, "Hey, how's the car?" And "Oh, I love it. That car handles so great," or "I love the ride of the car. I love the performance of the car," all that kind of good stuff. And it's a real good feeling when you do that. And also, what, I enjoy working with my co-workers, laughing, joking with them, talking about customers, about them, but the kind of things you do. But overall, it's a great working environment, great experience, and usually, as long as you're happy, they'll be happy.
Okay. Can you tell me some of the most negative experiences you have had while working in this career?
And negative experiences, well, one thing, let's say a customer comes in and orders a car. Okay, we build the car, get all the specifications, they have to hand it off to a manager so they can build the car. Well, sometimes they make mistakes. They'll make the wrong color, they make the wrong interior. Now we're going downhill with the sale because maybe Mr. Customer doesn't want the car like that, or they didn't want that equipment, or where's the equipment that they wanted? That could be a very negative experience. Another negative experience, I'd say it would be the weather. I don't like going out and have to shovel off a car so we can go out for a test drive, or dealing in the rain, going for a test drive. That's not fun, especially when it's cold and rainy and snowy and yuck. I don't like doing that part. If I could try to get somebody to do it for me, I'd do. But very rarely do you have somebody around to do it for you. So that could be negative.
Okay. Um, do you get a free BMW working at this company?
No, you don't get a free BMW working here. Pretty much none of the car companies are doing that anymore. Years and years ago, when I was with Acura, they used to give you a demo. So we'd have a free car to use, but we'd have to give it back after a certain amount of miles so they could sell it. But they get you another one. Since then, insurance rates have just gone through the roof. Um, so the dealerships, they could do it, but it's very expensive for them to do that. And if you have 10, 12 people driving around in BMWs with dealer plates, the insurance companies get a little antsy. And so no more that you have to, if I want a BMW, I have to buy it, lease it, whatever I have to do. Most of the time we buy, in the family anyway.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate how much you enjoy your job?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it about an 8. Um, Most of the time it's good. Sometimes it could be difficult since we always need to focus on selling. And customers are not always focused on buying. But yeah, I'll give it an 8, maybe a 9, sometimes a 5, depending upon what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Um, would you recommend this job to other people?
I'd recommend it to somebody if they were in sales already. I've never really recommended it to anybody before. I'm not thinking about it, to be honest with you, but I have gotten other people's jobs in the dealership doing different things, not so much selling. I think selling, you have to, it's something you have to want. It's not something that I could talk somebody into, to be honest with you.
Okay. Do you need a college degree or background in finance for this job?
No and no. Um, no college degree is required, but you need to have sales experience in order to get into this business. You know, it is a difficult business, just so you know at the start. Um, you just have to, I guess, have the right qualities, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I know people can be difficult. How often do you deal with customers who are impatient and difficult?
All the time. Okay, most everybody's got to be, somewhere, sometime. People that are looking at these cars are making good money because they're expensive cars. Um, I've had many of impatient such customer. I had one customer, I was dealing with a customer, and they came in and they just even interrupted me because they said, "Listen, they're on a time schedule here. We got to get out of here." And it's like, you know, but you really can't just drop the ball with one person and move on to another without pissing them off. So sometimes, hopefully, I can get a coworker to help me at that point, so I could deal with two at one time. But yeah, people that make this kind of money, a lot of people, these people are rich, and time is precious to them. So they don't have time to just drop everything and wait. So yeah, a lot of stressful people. It's very annoying. Um, you can't make them all happy, unfortunately.
Right. Um, how long on average does it take to sell a car?
On average, well, thing is you just never know. I could sell the car the same day. It may take me a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months. Some people are shopping around well in advance. Like, let's say they're leasing a car, and they're 6 months away from the end of their lease. So they have to know they have to replace the car. They just don't know what to replace the car with, and so you never know. You never know. It's tough, but some people all of a sudden call you up on the phone and say, "You know what? I'm ready to go." Okay, so what they'll do from their end is build the car online in their computer, and I'll just follow with them. And once they say, "Okay, this is it, let's do it," I'm like, "Okay, give me a credit card number. Are you going to be leasing it, financing it? Here's a credit application," and I could do that over the phone. I could do that over on my computer. Um, so, but you never know. It might be a year.
Mhm. And how many cars would you say you sell in a month?
Um, 5 to 20, depending upon the month. Um, you never know how many sales you're going to make, but it keeps it interesting, and exciting. Just try to figure out, how well you could do. But yeah, anything under that, and I shouldn't be in this business, to be honest with you.
Mhm. Is the car economy good today?
Right now, the economy is good, but that could change in a heartbeat. You never know. Um, but right now, it's not like COVID times. That was not fun because nobody really, either they didn't want a car or they really needed to have a car because they weren't going to get on the train, and they weren't going to take Uber because COVID. So everybody kind of needed a car. Thank God I was doing well through that. I don't know how I did. I was actually selling cars from home. Um, and in the first month, during COVID. I sold 9 cars. I was like shocked. I just couldn't believe it. But at the moment, yes, the economy's good. Thank God.
Good. I know there was a shortage of cars after COVID. Is there still a shortage?
Well, they're still trying to catch up right now. All the computer chips were all in one basket, or say all the eggs were on basket, and that made it very, hard to build cars because there was no computer chips. But hopefully, the United States is going to step up and start making computer chips so that we don't have that problem again. But it also depends on the model. Some models it's a supply and demand issue. So a lot of people want SUVs, so there might be a shortage of SUVs, or a lot of people want sedans, but we don't have enough sedans. Sometimes, try and talk them into a different type of automobile. So they might say, I want this, the coupe. But you know what? I only have a 4-door coupe right now. How about the 4-door coupe? And they're like, what's a 4-door coupe? And I was like, okay, let me just show you this, and they'll look at it and maybe that's the way they want to go. Maybe that'll work for them. Convertibles are a little bit hard right now too, for some reason. I'm not sure why. Um, but there was a big problem with wiring harnesses as well, because all the wiring harnesses were made in Ukraine. So that made it difficult. But because she was in war, had nothing to do with COVID at that point, did it? Um, but they're still trying to catch up. Let's put it that way.
Okay. And have the prices of cars gone up since COVID?
Oh yes, definitely. Again, supply and demand issue. You can ask for more money for something if you can't find the product. Um, First, it was about the shortage of automobiles, and there was this demand issue. But now it's coming down slowly, and I should say slowly. People are still paying up more for cars right now, but that's going to change, unfortunately.
Okay. And do you think selling cars in the future may become web-based?
I think that's inevitable. Um, ever since COVID, everybody started doing their shopping online. Heck, they were doing the shopping for the supermarket online. So once people are starting getting into that habit, that's what's gonna happen with cars. Like right now, Teslas, basically you could buy those online, and you know what? You pay a sticker when you go online. It's not like walking into a dealership where you can negotiate. You can't negotiate with a computer, unfortunately. Excuse me. Um, so that's the way right now you can go to bmwusa.com and actually buy the car. You could put your credit application. You could say what dealership you want to pick the car from. You could do your credit application online. A lot of people, there's still people that want to come in and talk with people. A lot of old school people, but teenagers today, everything they do online. So pretty soon they're going to start buying their cars online because they just don't want to deal with walking into the dealership. They don't want to deal with talking to people. And, it's this generation, they all grew up on their iPhone, so they're used to, talking to people online, or they're used to just doing everything online. And, it's almost kind of sad in a way because they don't really talk to, they don't talk to people. They're doing everything online. They're texting, so I wish they would figure out, a little bit better understanding of like how it was for us when we grew up. But it's the way of the world. That's what's going on now. So yes, I think salespeople are going to be non-existent at one point or another.
Okay. If not, what qualities does a person need to be successful in this business?
Um, you have to be patient. You have to be kind. You have to be a good listener. Know your product very, very well. This is, I feel I've been successful in this industry. Um, but in order to be successful, just learn your product, learn everything about the car. Um, you know, just be good with people. Be a people person.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye now.